Here I am at the Ron Paul convention, or town hall meeting actually, not a convention. There's quite a few people. It's a little bitty town. Just step up here on the snow. In my truck. Woohoo! Anyway, it's a little teeny tiny.
Hi.
Gonna put it on YouTube. He's not here, but I am.
Ron Paul is the best.
Yes. Thank you. Hey, we're at the town hall meeting. Lots of people starting to file in. Lots of little kids running around the way it should be. And a doctor running for president, you know. He likes little kids. It's recording.
Folks live in Maine.
Look at everybody.
Nice.
If you are someone who has seen Ron already and you're feeling particularly generous, then I wanted to extend the invitation. There are folks down there who haven't seen him, and if you wanted to give up your seat so someone else could see him, you can absolutely feel free to
That would be
go
noble.
downstairs and offer your seat. Don't feel obligated.
They're filled to capacity, people. They're asking people who've already seen him to let other people have a chance to see him. It's pretty nice. I wanted to show you all the media that's here. Quite a few people. They said they're filled to capacity. We might can string all this stuff together.
I don't know. We're gonna get on
It's great to see you all here. As you all know, this is the last of 6 historic stops coming through the state of Maine, beginning in Bangor at the Brick Church. That's it for Alfred. Let me tell you, Congressman Paul, this is the scene that he loves the most, really. You've been so well received here throughout the state. Before I make the introduction, I'd like to thank and also introduce to you a representative who was very pivotal. Congressman, I'd like you to hear this firsthand, that Representative Aaron Libby from Waterboro was instrumental. In setting up this event. Also, he was instrumental in setting
I think
up
I'm
the
going to
one
pause this so I can get some around before it dies.
Now, when I look at a candidate to support, I look at integrity, good moral character, good judgment. Ron Paul has been married for over 50 years. In fact, I hear there's an anniversary coming up next week. Together with his wife Carol, they have 5 children, 18 grandchildren, and even some great-grandchildren as well. Dr. Paul has delivered over 4,000 babies, and he served his country in the Air Force as a flight surgeon. He's a 12-term Republican congressman in the U.S. House of Representatives. I also look at platform, clear vision with a plan to succeed. Ron Paul's plan to restore America will cut $1 trillion in year 1. Not talking about 10 years down the road. Balancing it, instead of continually pushing off this debt, pushing off this spending, and saying we're going to do it in 10 years. One thing, I see in the state level, how can you bound another legislator to making these cuts? They always say that 10 years down the road, but he's going to balance the budget by year 3. There's also a plan to audit the Fed.
No big deal.
Paul is the Federal Reserve? Yeah. We must reduce our spending overseas. There's no way around this.
Just wait.
We are broke. And we're beyond broke. We're talking about
If it goes,
these programs that are tens of billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. National debt of over $15 trillion, and that's not counting unfunded liabilities of some studies 60, 80, $100 trillion. When I mention this to people, they say, oh, that's monopoly money. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's just fiat money. It just is monopoly. It's play money. It's not real. It's not sound. We cannot and should not continue this nation building across this world. This mentality of nation building across the world. We need our money here at home. We need to be concerned about borders here. We need to be concerned about our national security. I also look at a proven track record. Ron Paul has said the same message for 30 years. 100% constitutional, always consistent. He has dedicated the principles of this message, not for self-promotion. I truly believe that Ron Paul is here not for him, but for his family and for the future of this country. We need to change our cradle-to-grave government mentality. Cutting taxes is not enough. We must reduce the size and cost of our federal government. I'm completely tired of this status quo. I'm tired of the big government politicians on both sides of the aisle. Ron Paul represents real change, real cuts for a free and prosperous America. I probably would have been a Robert Taft Republican. I'm sure I would have been a Barry Goldwater Republican. I definitely would have been a Ronald Reagan Republican. And tonight, I stand here and say I am very proud to say that I am a Ron Paul Republican. Congressman, doctor, veteran, and the next President of the United States of America, Ron Paul.
A great introduction like that, I don't have to give a speech. Notice all the stuff. Wonderful. This is great. I appreciate very much coming up. You know, there's a couple people outside. Couldn't get in. I don't know whether they're getting you. Just forgot.
Maybe if we open the windows or something, it might.
No, might get you in here or something. But I want my wife to stand up, Carol, and my grandfather.
There you go.
Great. It's been not only personally friendly, politically friendly too, and it's been very, very nice, and I appreciate this wonderful welcome. And this is exciting to me because everybody knows that I have a precise message, and we've been talking about it, but it excites me to find out that there's so many other people who share the cause of liberty, and that's what we talk about. Liberty is the solution, government is not the answer to our problem. We've gotten ourselves into a mess because of the overspending and size of the government. It's real easy to say, well, it's the president's fault, it's the Congress's fault, and in many ways they are the ones who bring on the policy. But people, we ourselves have permitted this to happen because we have been lulled to sleep, believing that the prosperity would last forever, that we could keep spending, that we could keep borrowing, if we came up short, we could just print the money. And it worked for a long time. But we were deceived in thinking that that would last. It's coming to an end. And this is what the message is of the last 4 years. It's been recognized that this type of government that we've been living on, where we think that we can deficit finance every little problem, it has come to an end. I became concerned in 1971 when the last link of our dollar was severed from gold, believing that would usher in an age of big government spending and huge deficit. We're there now. We have to look at monetary policy, and when the American people find out and say what the Fed's been doing to us, not only are they going to demand an audit, they're going to demand a new system. It's delightful to meet so many supporters and in such enthusiasm, but I hate to tell you that you're in big trouble because they talk about those who support our campaign, and even on the national stage, even in this debate, they say that Ron Paul and Ron Paul supporters are dangerous.
I know it, man. There we are.
But isn't it strange that they take our views and say that we're dangerous and radical? But I think we've allowed the radicals to grab hold of our government for too long. We need to get the radicals out.
That's right.
We have a campaign going on, as was mentioned in the introduction, I'm proposing we cut $1 trillion. And they say, well, that is radical. It's a radical change from what they're doing. But they don't think a minute about spending $1 trillion they don't have. I mean, obviously, that is radical. What about totally ignoring the Constitution? That is a radical change that has occurred in the last 100 years. Essentially has nullified the Constitution. That's a radical change that we have to reverse. And what we need to do is just come back to some common sense and make sure people take their oath of office seriously. That should not be a radical idea. Balanced budgets, more freedom, less spending, a sensible foreign policy. There's nothing dangerous and nothing radical about that. The danger is overspending and runaway inflation and fighting wars that we don't need to have. Going to war without a declaration. Those are the dangerous ideas that we have to stop.
Yes, sir.
In the last 10 years, with the wars going on in the Middle East, we've actually added over $4 trillion of debt on these wars. Just think if we'd have had more of these more dangerous people in Washington that said, you can't go to war unless you declare it, unless the people endorse it through their representatives and vote for it. Just think of all the fighting and killing that has come about since the last time we declared war, which was on December 8th in 1941. Not a war since then has been declared. The founders gave a few responsibilities to the federal government. One was national defense, defend the country, give us a sound currency, protect our liberties. But we've ignored that. We have gone to war without declaration. If we would have just followed the Constitution on that basic principle of not going to war, just to think how many lives it would have saved, how much wealth it would have saved, how much richer this country would have been, how little debt we would have, how much bigger the middle class would be, and how much more prosperous we would be. But after 40 years, I date so much coming from August 15th of 1971, when we lost that link to gold, runaway spending. Just think how much poorer we are. And the big thing that's going on right now is the recognition. It isn't like there's a few of us talking in the wilderness and you standing alone and trying to find the right candidates. Right now, it is very, very well known. It's very well known, not only in the country and the people in this country, it's known worldwide. But guess where it's least well known about the seriousness of the crisis? Washington, D.C. I don't think they have the vaguest idea how serious things are. If they thought the problem was 1/10 of what I think it is, they probably would cut something. But so far they haven't cut anything, and they don't propose to cut anything. And we can't get out of the problem this way. They have token cuts. They talk about, the Congress couldn't do anything last summer. So they said, well, we failed, so we're going to have this super committee. And the super committee will make us cut. Well, the super committee just made a super mess out of it and made things worse.
Showing shake control.
So, but then if they failed, which they, I guess
so it automatically adjusts.
The plan was that there would be an automatic cut of over $1 trillion over 10 years. So that's what's in place
that's for sure.
But they're fighting and screaming that they can't stand these horrendous cuts. But there aren't cuts. They're cutting $1 trillion over 10 years of a $9 trillion proposed increase. So the proposed increase now is not $9 trillion, it's $8 trillion. And all of that is talk anyway. You can't tell the future Congresses what to do. So our national debt, that means they'd be cutting $100 billion out of the proposed increases per year. Our national debt's going up $100 billion every month. And so it's way out of proportion to their concerns. But the biggest concern that they neglect is the concern for protecting your liberty. Recognizing that individuals have natural rights to their life, natural rights to their liberty. We should have a natural right to keep the fruits of our labor. That's what I really like.